this session available for people to watch in case they couldn't be here or in case they need to review. So let me go to the chat. Like I've done, a lot of you have been in my courses before. I'm going to put a support document into the chat right now. And I may be asking people to copy that and paste it in the chat again, potentially, if other people join us a little bit later in the session. This support document basically has links to the Google support, the support that Google itself provides. The Google Teacher Center is fabulous, and they have a first day of series of for many of the Google products that teachers use, like first day of Google Classroom, first day of Google Slides, first day of Google Docs, and so on. So I've linked the slides one. Google also just has a support page in general for Google Slides. Both of these tools, both of these first two, can be used to kind of find out if there's a specific thing you forgot how to do in Google Slides, or something that maybe we didn't talk about, because it has a lot of features and we won't be able to do all of them today. We're going to focus on the basics. But you can go to one of the first two links there and just look for the specific thing you're trying to do in Google Slides and get help with that. Welcome. Let me put the support document in the chat for you that we are looking at. We're glad you're here. Oops, hold on, sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna put the document in the chat right now so that you also have access to this document. This document is going to give you, in addition, a slide deck. Now it's not a video, it's just a slide deck, but it has screenshots of many of the editing tools that we'll be talking about today. So if you're someone who likes to work in pictures, for example, when I'm presenting, it will actually walk you through how to save this slide deck to your Google Drive. And then it actually, I'm going to skip a little bit, but it has screenshots to help you get going with how to do this. And I'll walk us through all of this today, but if you need to, when you come back, you can actually review the slide deck in order to help you. Since some people, you know, it can help to have the visual support. You also have a document that reminds you how to get the link to a Google Drive file and share it. Welcome, here is the resource document for those of you just joining us. And then you have a video that shows you how to import PowerPoint into Google Drive and convert it to Google Slides. And then if you're ready for more, you have a link to the help document for Pear Deck, which works with Google Slides, a help document for Zoom, in case you want to present your slides live, and a help document for recording a video that you could do by putting your slideshow into Present, and you can use the information in this help document to actually make a little video of yourself presenting your slides. So you have all those tools to support you. Let's get going. Before I start again, we do have a couple more people who joined us. Welcome. I've put a support document in the chat. I'm noticing, by the way, for those of you who've been joining me for several trainings, that at work I have a Mac, but at home I have a PC, and so I have both with me at home. And my PC likes Zoom better, so I suddenly have all this functionality that my Mac just didn't give me in Zoom. So that's why it's a little easier for me to put things in the chat now. All right, so as you saw, you have this slide deck, and I'm going to do live demonstrations just like I do with most of the trainings I've been doing for those of you who've been joining me already. So we're going to get started by going to our Google Drive. Most of you will get to Google Drive by going to Portal. And once you're logged into Portal, you'll click on the Google Drive icon, you know, when your computer decides to log you in. You'll click on the Google Drive icon, which is the triangle, and then that will bring you to your drive. Depending on I use folders, just like I use on my hard drive desktop. I use folders to organize things. So you'll want to navigate to the folder where you want your new slide deck to exist so you can find it later if you use folders. If you don't use folders, things will just appear in an alphabetical list in your drive. So I've already navigated to the folder I want to use. I'm going to dive one more folder in to my Google Docs and Slides folder. And now I'm going to hit the new button. Welcome. I will put the resource document in the chat for you. So I'm going to hit the new button. Sorry, mouse. There you are. and I'm going to slide down to slides and create a slide. Now, before I hit slides, I'd like you to notice that all of these have an arrow to the right. That means that there's more stuff. If you just want a blank doc, a blank Google Sheet, or a blank slides deck, you just hit it. But they actually have templates. I'm going to start us from scratch today, but it's good to know that there are templates here you could look at and use, and they're fully editable. And if we have time today, you might see a feature that's a little more advanced that allows you to create your own template, which has a couple of really great uses for teachers. Okay, so we're gonna click new, and it's gonna open up a blank slide deck. And I hope, let's see, I just wanna check one thing here. Sorry, trying to, there we go, more, okay. All right, so you have a blank slide deck. I'm going to close out some of my Zoom windows now because they're in the way for me of my interface. So at this point, one of the things I'm closing out is the chat. So if I welcome someone new in the room, if any of you could just grab the support document, copy it, and paste it back into the chat for me, that would be really helpful. And I'm going to close out my video windows because they're in my way. All right, so when it opens up, you have a blank slide on the left. These are what are called your thumbnails. As you add more slides, this will grow, just like over here. You can see all my thumbnails. Okay, it's blank right now because I haven't made any yet. It defaults to a layout that is a title layout. Okay, so it's essentially where you put the title of your slide deck. It also defaults to opening up to what are called themes. So we will start there. You have a few themes built in that you can choose from. And so if you like one of the themes, what it will do is it will take that theme and it will give you, each slide will kind of correspond in terms of color and so on to that theme. So this is what the title slide looks like now. I do notice that with the themes, the title slides tend to, or all the slides, the font sizes tend to be a little bit small. There is a way to fix that. It's a little more advanced. So if we have time, I'll talk about it towards the end, where you could kind of fix it permanently and turn it into a new template that has the font sizes the way you like it. But ultimately, you can actually click, and I'm going to close out my theme. You can click, and you notice you have a toolbar up here, and it says that the font size for this center box is 38. If you want it bigger, you can make it 42 or change the number by going up to your toolbar at the top and changing the number. And then you just give it a title. It also has a subtitle box. You aren't required to use it. When you present your slide, if you left that box empty, it will just not show up. Notice that size is only 16. So I'm going to change that to something bigger. And then you can put your subtitle in. You can see how that's looking at any time by clicking the present button in the upper right corner. And this is going to show me how my slide deck looks once it's full screen. So I can decide if I really need to make the title bigger and even maybe the subtitle bigger if I want. To get out of present view, just hit your escape button. And that will take you out of the present view and back into editing. So now you're looking at this and you're like, great, there's a title slide. Where's the rest of my slides? The easiest way to add a new slide is to click in the left. So you want to make sure there's that yellow kind of box around the thumbnail on the left, and then just hit enter. Usually, by default, it will then select what they consider kind of a basic content slide that has a title on the top and a text box for you to add your content. If you don't like the basic content layout, welcome, someone will post the resource document in the chat for you. If you don't like that, you can change it to a variety of other layouts. Look across your toolbar and you'll notice it's changed. A little bit earlier, the toolbar had things like bold, underline, italic, font size, font type. But since I've clicked on the left, this is called a contextualized menu. And where you're at in the program changes what tools you have access to. So if I click where it says title, the toolbar changes. If I click back on the left, the toolbar changes to only provide options that are appropriate for the piece that I'm actively working in. So I'm going to click on layout, and you'll see that it gives you a variety of layouts to choose from. The most common ones are the title and body, which is what this one is called. Title and 2 columns, so that you can have 2 columns of text. But a couple others that people will find useful sometimes are a section header. If you have a longer slide deck and you want to show visually that there's like a distinct break between the thing you were just talking about and what they're about to do next, you could use the section header layout. They also have a big number layout, but it doesn't have to be a number. It could be a word. So if you're going to talk about a statistic that's related to the topic that you are studying, you could put the statistic here without any other information, although you could also add text. Notice it's tiny. It's in 13-point font. Again, you can change that. Or you could just put the number there and then talk about it, have the number be your attention getter, right? So you can click back over here and say, no, I didn't want that layout. Go back to layouts, pick the layout that you want. Something else I forgot to mention to you, so let's go up here. In the upper left corner, you're going to want to give your presentation a title. If I had done that first and then clicked here in the middle, it won't work now because I already typed something in the middle, but if I had done that first and then clicked, it could bring it over to the center title, or similarly, sometimes if you type your title here and then click in the upper left, it will predict that that's what you want the presentation to be called. So you don't have to have them match, but it will help them match if you want it to. You could type your title and then click in the upper left, and it will put the title up there for you. Okay, so now it's going to be saved, and notice it's in my drive because I already told it to create it in my drive in this specific folder. So this is now when I refresh this particular page of my Google Drive, you'll see that this sample, nope, it's being, because I'm still editing it. So I'll show you a little bit later. It will have the sample presentation there in my drive, in that folder. Okay, so now that we remember that to add the new slide, all I did was click on the number 1 and then hit the return key on my keyboard, and it made slide number 2. Go ahead and type whatever your topic or thing that you want to put at the top, you know, topic info. And then it's 30. Again, you can change it. You can change the font to a different font. Just know that you'll have to change it on each slide. When you the theme will always have fonts built in. You can change them. Sometimes in order to avoid having to go up here and change the font and the font size on each slide, what I will do as a shortcut is I'll do topic info and then topic details. Okay, and see how tiny that is? So I'm going to actually change that. I happen to like to try to have 24 point there and to try to have at least 36 or 42 at the top. Those are kind of my standard ones, but every font size interprets their sizes a little differently. And then what I'll do is I'll go over to my thumbnail, and on my PC, I'll hit Control-C. On my Mac, it would be Command-C, and then I'll just hit Control or Command-V and give myself some blank slides that now already have the font size the way I like them, so that I don't have to, every slide, I don't have to go ahead and go up to the top, click and highlight my words, click on the number, change the size, and then do it again down here. Now I've set it up to where all of these slides have the right font size, and I can just change the info, right? And I can change the details and so on. Okay, so as you saw, editing has a toolbar that's very similar to toolbars you've probably seen in other places. So you can use bold to attract your students' attention. You can italicize. You can underline. You don't have to underline whole words or italicize whole words. You can choose to underline a specific piece. You can change the color. You can bold and underline and change the color. You can even highlight if you really want to go to town, so that now when I present that slide just to look at it, it has it bold, underlined in red, and highlighted in yellow. So I hit the escape key to get out of the full screen view. And so that is something you can do with your font. We do recommend, especially as you're doing distance learning, and some of you, whether you're doing live lessons or recording lessons, it's really important to use the built-in features of tools like Google Slides to help your students know what it is you want them to pay attention to. You don't have to use bold, underline, color, and highlight all at once, but I did want you to know that that was possible. And you see I'm just undoing. By the way, a couple of keyboard shortcuts for you. On a PC, these will be Control, and on a Mac, these will all be Command. But Control or Command Z is your undo, and Control or Command Y is your redo. So it only redoes the one last thing, but you can, it's doing the bold, undo, redo, undo, redo. And that's Command Z to undo something you just did. You went, no, no, that was a mistake. Undo it, put it back the way it was before. That's Command or Control Z. And then to redo it is Command or Control Y. Okay. All right, let's show you another helpful feature. When you do have a lot of text on a slide, hit return. Now you'll notice that I have this huge set of tools up here at the top, and then there's 3 dots. 3 dots mean click here, there's more, and there's the rest of my editing tools. I'll be right there in the chat in just a little bit. Click here, there's more, and that means that you have additional formatting options. For example, it's left justified, but I could make it centered or right justified or fully justified. I can align things to the top of the text box, the middle of the text box, or the bottom of the text box. I can adjust my line spacing, and I use this a lot. Notice it has a default to remove, to have a space after each paragraph. You can kind of see it on my screen. There's the topic details. I hit return and it left a little gap right there and started the new line a little bit lower. If I'm finding that my text is starting to run off the bottom of my slide, I have 2 choices. Well, I actually have 3 choices. One choice is to break the slide up into 2 slides because there's too much information. Another choice is to reduce the font size. Actually, 4 choices. Another choice is to drag the handles of this blue box you see to make the box wider so that some of the content can come up a little bit. And then another choice, going back here to the more and going here, is to do things like, oh, it's automatically putting a space after each paragraph. Well, I'm going to remove that so that now when I hit return, it's right underneath. So those are some formatting kind of tricks you can use. You'll also notice, if some of you who've been in a lot of my presentations, you'll see that sometimes the title box used to be here and then all of a sudden it moved up to here on one slide. And then I took this and I dragged it up to make it taller so that I could fit more information on a slide. Let me check the chat really quick because I saw things come in. This shows how this, yes, the present key shows how the slide looks to the student. It's also how I would recommend, well, that's not entirely true. Let me rephrase that. When if you're going to send a slide deck, not a recording, and you're not presenting it live, you're just sending them a slide deck. When they first open it, unless you share it in a very particular way, which I can show you later, it's going to open like this with the slide in the middle and the thumbnails on the right. I do recommend that you tell students to use the present key to view the slide, because if you built links into your deck, the links will work better. If you built in what we're going to talk about later, animations, the animations will bring things in one at a time as your students click through the slide deck, as opposed to showing everything on the slide at the same time. So when you share your slide deck with students, it will open like this at first, and they would need to know to click the present key. When you are doing a live lesson, if you choose to do so, you're not required to, but if you choose to do a live lesson in Zoom, you would also use the present key rather than clicking through your thumbnails, so that they don't see what's coming next. They just see what you want them to see. Okay. And then, like I said, a little bit later, I'll share another option for you. Okay. So here's another way that you can, if you have information about a topic, I'm going to go to more, and you have several points. You can make a bulleted list, and a lot of people, not just teachers, just people in general, don't quite know how to use the numbering and bulleted lists to their advantage. This is not just true in Google Slides, it's also true in Google Docs, which is the Google version of Microsoft Word. So let's start with, I'm going to hit, oops, let me undo the numbers. Let me go here and hit return. Let's start with a numbered list. I'm going to go up to my toolbar and I'm going to choose numbered list. Notice it automatically gave me the number 1 and it automatically spaced it. And then you just add your, oh, and I'm bold. So I'm going to hit all that. I'm going to use keyboard shortcuts instead of going up here. And I'm going to do Control B. On your Mac, it's Command B. Item 1. And then you just hit return. You don't have to type the number 2 and try to figure out how many spaces will make it exactly even. And in fact, it kind of messes things up later when you try to edit it when you do that. Just hit return. Number 2, and that's going to be item 2. Number 3 is going to be item 3. What if I want to have a sub item? What if I want to have 3A, 3B, 3C? Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit return again, and it says 4, but don't panic. I'm going to hit the tab key, and now it's item A. Okay, and I'm going to hit return, item 3B. Hit return, it says item C, but I want to go back to number 4. Just hit return again. Don't type anything, just hit return, and it will go back to item 4. Now it's formatting all of these lists for you so that things are arranged the way you want them. Let's see what that looks like with bullets. So now I'm going to go down to my next slide, and I'm going to do second topic, and I'm going to hit return, and then I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and this time I'm going to choose bullets, and then I'm going to do bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet. I'm going to this time hit tab, 2A, 2B. I'm going to hit return, type nothing, hit return again, and it goes back out so that I can do bullet 3. And essentially, just to show you for kicks and giggles, you can go in several levels. So let me move this up to the top so we have some room to play with. It's not just one sub-level. You can start your bulleted list right at the beginning if you want. So I'm going to go over here, click more, and it's bullets or numbers. I'll do bullets this time. Okay, hit enter, hit tab, and I have detail, you know, and I have 1A, right? Hit return, 1B. Hit return, hit tab. Now it's doing a different kind of bullet. 1BA, like, I don't know, I'm just making this up, right? 1BB. Hit return, type nothing. Hit return, it goes back. Hit return again, it goes all the way back to topic details, to that outer level. So you can just use the tab and the return keys in order to make different levels of bullets. And it also works with numbering. So if I highlight this whole section and I change it to numbers, it automatically did outline format of 1A, Roman numeral 1, 2, and so on. And if I hit return, it's 3. If I hit tab, instead it indents that to the next level of details 2, that's 2A. If I hit return, it's B, but if I tab, it's the Roman numeral 1 for 2A1, right? 2A2. And now I'm running out of room. Remember what I told you. So maybe this slide needs to be broken up into 2 slides, one for topic details A, topic details 1, and one for topic details 2. Because if I try to go back out, I'm off the slide. Students won't be able to see anything that floats off the bottom of your slide. You should actually even leave a little bit of a margin. Don't type all the way down to the very bottom because sometimes it doesn't display well, and so on, okay? So now we've talked a little bit about those formatting things. So let's look at what we can do once we format something. This is, we were talking before about how you can use bold, underline, colors, and highlighting, which are all up here in your toolbar. Bold, italic, underline, font color has the line under it. Highlight color is the little brush. To draw, to focus students' attention on what it is you want them to focus on and notice when they're looking at this presentation. But another key thing that you can do that's actually a really good strategy for focusing learner attention is to do what's called animation. And don't worry, this isn't like learning how to do Pixar films. It's way simpler. What we're going to do is animate this slide so that when we view it, instead of looking at it like this, where everything is visible all at once, and now they may not be listening or paying attention because they're just reading everything and kind of glossing over it because they see a lot of info and it's all there on the page at the same time. I'm going to hit escape to get out. I can animate this information so it comes in one item at a time. So notice the first thing I did was, instead of clicking in here to type, I'm clicking up here on the box, and I can tell I've clicked on the box because my cursor isn't blinking anywhere in it. So it's selected the entire box. I'm going to go up to my top menu, and I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to scroll down to Animation, and then it's going to open a panel on the right. And it's saying, oh, would you like to fade in on click? Yes, but that's not good enough, because what that would do is it would show, if I do that, in fact, let me show you what it does. I'm gonna play it. It has a little play button down here for you to test it. It brought in the first part and left the box out. And now when I click, the box comes in, but it comes in all at once. I didn't want that. So now I have to hit the stop button. You wanna tell it to come in when it's text, you want it to come in by paragraph. Let's test that now. We're going to hit that play button again. And now I'm going to click, 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 click. And if you're presenting information in a video, this gives you time. So I'm going to, this gives you time to talk about it and then click, talk about the next item and then click. So this is going to bring the items in one at a time. And this, in combination with things like color or bold and so on, really help focus learner attention. So again, the way that I got there was by going to the slide that needs animation. I'll do it on this one too. I'm going to move this text box. I don't like where it's at. So notice the cursor here is ready to type. If I drag it up, it's going to get really hard to see, but it changes to white little cross handles or crosshairs, and I'm just going to drag the box up a little higher for you. It's selected the whole box. Nothing's blinking. I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go to Animation. It opens on the right. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click by paragraph. And then if you'd like to see that full screen, you can do it on any slide, but I'll start at the beginning. You can use your mouse or your arrows on your keyboard. The right arrow or the down arrow both work to advance your slide deck. So your mouse click will work, but so will the right arrow or the left arrow. And as you're talking, I'm just clicking one at a time to bring these items in. Okay, so that I can talk about bullet number 1 and give all the information I want to give, and then bring on bullet 2. And then talk a little bit more about that information because it has more details before I go on to topic 3. And notice this slide, we did not animate. So since we didn't animate it, it all came in at once. Just in case, I'm gonna ask someone to throw the document in the chat for me. Once in a while, people drop out of the meeting and then they come back. So I don't know if we have new people joining us or if it's people who ended up their internet kicked them out and they came back in. All right. All right, so we have coming up next, let me check where I'm at. We've done the themes, we've done the text, we've done animate, good job. Let's add a new slide. Let me check the chat, there might be a question. But then we're gonna show you a couple things about adding slides and manipulating slides. Yep, that definitely happens. Okay, so if you're at the end, if you've typed all these things, and you need to add a new slide right at this end point where you left off. Notice my yellow boxes around the last slide I created. All I have to do is hit enter. Okay, but guess what? You can also hit enter anywhere you want. Hit enter, new slide. So you can add a new slide really easily. What if you realized you added it in the wrong place and it needs to be below slide number 4 instead of before it? Take either one of these slides, click and drag. Notice there's a little line, and depending on your theme, the line changes color, but look for the line. There's a line going between the slides, and that's telling you where the slide is gonna land when you let go of your mouse. Because this whole time I've clicked and held it, and I'm dragging it to move to that location. So you can really easily reorder the slides in your deck by just clicking and dragging. And if you were wrong about that, Control Z is your friend. And in a Mac, it's Command Z, and you can put your slides back in order. Okay. You also have undo and redo buttons right up here at the top. I just know once you get really kind of proficient at your computers and so on, many people begin to prefer the keyboard commands and shortcuts because they don't have to take their hands off the keyboard, go to the mouse, slide the mouse up to the top, My mouse likes to hide, so there we go, find my mouse. It's faster when you know the keyboard shortcuts, you can actually just keep working. All right, so now we're going to look at a feature that seems really fancy when you do it, but it's actually really easy. Now we know that another key to supporting our learners' success with content we are presenting, whether we're doing it in class or in distance learning, but maybe especially with distance learning, is to provide visual support for the printed and oral language in the presentation. So let's add some pictures. The first thing you'll notice is there's this huge menu over to the right. I'm going to close that. Now the next thing I want you to notice, and this one has a lot of this one has bullet or numbered list and sub items, so we'll see how it plays. It might not like this one, but there's a button at the bottom right of your screen when you are editing your slides that most people ignore. Don't ignore this button. It is fabulous. It is the Explore button. Essentially what it will do is it will open a Google search page right within your slide deck so you can look at things. The other thing it does provide you with is some additional layout possibilities without adding anything else. Maybe you like this one better. I don't happen to like any of those, so I'm going to leave that one alone. But I'm going to go up to the search box and I'm going to search for dogs. Now, when I first hit return, it's going to go to the web and it's going to search for dogs. And I could add some web results to my slide, but I'm actually interested in Drive. When I see a dog I like, I can click on it for a bigger picture, but you'll save time if you just click on the plus. Now, we're going to see if this is going to play nicely. I put a lot of text on the slide, so it might have outdone it. First of all, I want you to notice the link. This tells you where the picture came from. All of the pictures that come up in the Explore menu are Creative Commons, licensed for use, with modification, even commercially, meaning you can edit these, use them, share them, put them in slide decks that you're using for other purposes. This has made it much easier for students and teachers to know that the pictures they are selecting are pictures that they have the legal right to use. And this helps you model for your learners that aspect of digital citizenship. So once you're here, there's a back arrow, click it, and then it goes to the web because that's where you were just before. Click it one more time, and look, it has suggested a layout for your slides that incorporates the picture. You can still see how small this is. Oops, sorry. You can still go in here. Let me see if there's one that's better. You can still go here and you can click on these things and you can highlight the whole thing. Notice my menu got really tiny because this big old Explore menu took up a lot of space. So now my 3 dots, there's more, is way over here. So I'm going to click that, go to my font size, and I'm going to see if I can get it at least to 18. Ooh, I can. Let's see if I can get it to 20 and have it still fit. Yeah, let's try 24. So it came out really small and I don't like that, but I can change the font size after it suggests the editing. I don't know if this is going to fit now. Oh, it still does. I can also move this box up because it's too close to the other one. I can change it to 36. Okay. I can change the color and all those things. So let's try that one more time so that you see that process. And this time I'm going to do kind of a basic, well, notice it has, when you have the Explore menu open, the first thing that shows up is always layouts. And it'll give you some layouts that will just apply to that slide only, and it will not affect the rest of your template that you chose or your theme. So let's say you want to talk about fun things and you think that dogs and puppies and ice cream make everything better. So I'm going to do a dog again and I'm going to show you one picture. Okay, it's going to insert that. And I'm not even going to lay out that picture yet. I'm going to do ice cream because puppies and ice cream make everything better. And I'm going to add that picture. And now let's see if it does its magic. Once in a while, it doesn't play nice, but let's see. Okay, so it gave me 2 options and I don't like how any of those are laying out, mainly because I don't like the ice cream photo because it's not working. So let's pick a different ice cream photo. Ice cream. Let's see if we can get one where the ice cream image is closer to the bottom because it was having trouble with where that picture was. I guess I'll just try this one. It's a little bright. All right. And then I'm going to go back. Let's see what happens. Nope, it didn't like that one at all. So notice how I've been saying sometimes it doesn't play nicely. Okay, let's try this. It likes that picture. And see, it's giving me some layouts you haven't seen before. Now the bummer is it won't let me, let's see what happens if I crop this in. It won't really let me adjust. It won't change the layout if I adjust the picture. It really just takes the picture as is. So that is a downside to this. But let's say you don't like it exactly. It's not quite what you wanted. And you scroll down and you're like, that's closer, but none of those are quite what I wanted. Again, you can try to add another picture and see what that changes, because it does change things. Oops, just hit insert. Let's see what it does. There we go. Oh, cut off. Oh, that one's better. There we go. So now I have both my pictures. I'm going to want to do a lot of work with this because I don't like how small the font is. I'm going to see if it'll let me change the background color. It says it's white, so maybe not. Done. Nope. So you might want to pick a different font color. So there are some limitations to this, but let me show you. And again, the way you get to all of that is the Explore button in the lower right corner. Type in your search term. It will always start with layouts, but type in your search term. Oops, get rid of that slide. Let me go to one that doesn't have as much on it. Type in your search term. Like if you want to show, let's try chemistry. Let's see what we get for images. Okay. And then hit the plus. And then hit the back arrow and the back arrow, and it will give you layouts. And I think I noticed a chat come in and I thought I heard the microphone. Yep. Okay. So you have, if I select one of these layouts, instead of having the picture take up the whole screen, I can select the layout that I think will be the most helpful for presenting the content, and it will use that. Let me show you another nice thing that you can do. This is more for fun, but because we're trying to engage our learners and we're trying to engage them in this distance learning setting, so it can be a little more difficult to kind of reach them. Let's go to Explore again. This time I'm gonna go to cats. Okay, I do like animals a lot. Oh, look at that beautiful kitty. All right, so let's do, I wonder if this one will work. We're going to do plus. This time I'm not going to do Explore. I'm not going to let Explore decide where it goes. I want this picture, I want this picture off to the side a little bit smaller. So I'm using the handles in the corners. Once my arrow changes from grab handles, that moves it. Once it changes to a line with an arrow on each side, and I know you can't see it because it does it in a horrible color, that means that at that point you can drag and change the size of your image, but be careful. If you drag horizontally, it makes the kitty cat look very odd. I'm gonna Control Z. If you drag just vertically, it'll make the kitty cat look very odd. So Control Z. So what you do is use the corner and it will keep the proportion correct. Now, that allowed me to put the picture where I want it, but there's some other really awesome things you can do. By the way, we should keep the link in place to appropriately reference the photo, but these are Creative Commons, usually without even needing to be appropriately listed. But if you do need to list it, keep that in place. If you click on it and find the rights and determine that you don't have to attribute it, you can actually unlink this so that students don't accidentally click on the photo, because it'll just take them to Flickr because it's linked. Now, let me show you an interesting thing. Many teachers and others know about cropping. The part they ignore is the arrow to the right. Click the arrow to the right, pick a shape. I'm gonna pick, where'd it go? I know I don't see it right now. I usually see a heart, but I don't see the heart right now. Okay, fine. I will pick a different shape. I guess I will just pick a circle. Okay, and now it has cropped the image as a circle. So that was done again. I'm going to Command or Control Z to undo that. Instead of just clicking to the right. You okay?
You just froze. We didn't hear that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So let's do this again. So again, the way that you can crop an image into a shape is to select the image, so the blue box is around it. Don't click the crop image, but click the down arrow to the right. Oh, maybe it's a call out. No. I'm missing the heart that used to be there. It went away. Oh, there it is. And then you can crop it to any shape that comes up in those menus. The other thing you can do to help it pop out a little better on your image is click on format options and just go down to drop shadow and click it. You don't have to adjust it beyond there if you don't want to, but it does have the ability for you to really adjust that drop shadow, which looks ridiculous, by the way, right there. But you can adjust it. You can also adjust the angle of the drop shadow so that you can see where it, you know, it's hard to tell. Let me make it bigger. There we go. So you can adjust the angle of the drop shadow so that it appears in a certain way. Did I freeze again? Did I freeze again?
No, you're good.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just, okay. So these are just extra things. These are not required. Oops, but the way you can do that is select your image, choose format options, and then select the drop shadow. And notice you can even change the color of it. This is also where you can make an image more transparent. Oh, that's the drop shadow transparency. You can take that down and you can adjust your picture itself. If you need your picture to kind of be in the background, you can move it to the background, but you can also change the transparency. You can adjust the brightness. That looks horrible. You can adjust the contrast and so on. So you have a lot of things you can do just within the just within the format options of your image. Okay. So those all happened. Remember, I was talking earlier about contextual menus. What was available changed because I clicked on the image. Now the crop or the crop to a shape was available. The format options was available, and that wasn't there before because I hadn't clicked on an image. Once you click on an image, you get all of those options. Okay, so we've already talked about how to change the order of slides. Let's talk about how to present with the closed captions. So let me go up to the top of my slide deck. You have a present button. We've looked at that already. But to the right, it has a pull down arrow as well. Okay. Actually, you won't need that, but I will tell you about the presenter view because it is a nice feature. Those of you who are accustomed to presenter view in Keynote, for example, will be happy to know that Google Slides now has this. If you hit present, you just start presenting. But if you hit present with presenter view, you actually will have the ability to see what the next slide is. And if you added speaker notes, your speaker notes will be visible. I'll show you where your speaker notes are actually before I go on. So let's hit escape. If you're going to record your lessons, or even if you're going to present, well, if you're going to present live, that won't work. Actually, I've noticed for this, because we're not presenting from our computer to a screen in front of the class, I've had to print out my slide decks if I need presenter notes so that I have them. But you might notice that at the bottom here, you actually have an area that says click to add speaker notes. So talk all about the dog and caring for the dog. And you can put any details in here you want because it's just for you. But if you share the slide deck, it is important to know that when people open the slide deck, unless you share it in a very particular way that automatically opens only in full screen, can't be saved, can't be printed. If you share it the normal way, including in Google Classroom, they will be able to see your notes as well, which depending on what your notes are, might not be a bad thing. They'll actually see the extra information that you would have presented orally if you had been able to conduct this in front of the class. So when you click the down arrow and go to present view with the notes, you'll notice that now I'm on slide 2. Here's my notes about slide 2. My previous slide was the title slide. My next slide is still the topic info slide because it's bringing in the bullets. Now, if you are recording your screen or if you are presenting in Zoom and sharing your screen, you'll notice that you can all see all this. So this is more helpful to you when you go back to the classroom and you're projecting this to a different screen or TV monitor. And so this appears on your computer only, and it will not project this to the separate screen when you're doing that. Okay, but the other thing I wanted to show you, when I go into present mode, and let me make sure I'm full screen. Sorry, my Zoom toolbar is in the way of my slides toolbar. Okay, so let me go full screen. On the bottom, and it's going to be at the very bottom of your Zoom window where I'm sharing, this is how I navigate through my slide deck. So I have arrow keys that can bring me back to the beginning. I have an arrow key to the right. I can actually click where it says slide 2, oops, and it will allow me to jump to any other slide. In presenter view, you do have an interesting option called Q&A that you can turn on that will open up audience tools. It's a little bit more advanced, but it would allow you to send, it'll send a code out to your participants so that they can, and notice now it's hard to do here because it's visible in Zoom. So this is another one that works better in a live setting, but you would start a new presentation and it'll give you instructions on how to get that out to your students so that they can just send you questions through this. Notes, pointer, captions. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I actually used this this weekend to record a video. You're going to turn on captions. Unfortunately, they are only available in English. So those of you who are world languages teachers of languages other than ASL, the captions are not available in other languages. And I was doing a demo lesson in French for part of my presentation. And so those captions were completely gibberish. But if I turn them on, you'll notice that at the very bottom of your screen, it is now providing captions as I talk. It does not do punctuation. So it just provides the captions, but they're fairly accurate. And when I go to a new slide, it continues providing captions so that I can talk about this particular dog, and I can give all the information about how to care for dogs by talking about each point. And it will continue to make captions for me that it presents automatically. So this feature again becomes available once you click the present button in Google Slides. And the nice thing is I'm going to hit escape. So it's going to end the captions. The nice thing is that you don't have to do any of the fancy present features. You just hit present, go down to your presenter's toolbar at the bottom and click turn on closed captions. That's all there is to it. Once you click that button, the closed captioning starts automatically for the entire time that you or anyone else is talking. If you no longer want the closed captions, you just click it again to turn them off. Okay. All right. So that is there. Now let's learn how to share our slides. Now, if you're in Google Classroom, you're going to, let me open up Google Classroom. You're probably going to prefer, it'll be easier if you just use the tools built into Google Classroom to get this, to put the slide deck in there. You'll need to decide if you want to add the slide deck as, is it an assignment? Is it just an announcement? Which means they need it this one time, they don't ever need to find it again. Otherwise I would not use announcement. Is it material? Meaning they don't need to edit it, they don't need to type on it, but they do need to be able to find it and use it again. So I'm going to grab it as material. I'm going to give it a title, whatever it is. You might want to put the topic of the lesson or the slide deck. The description is optional. Choose add, go to your drive, and notice it's going to probably come up pretty soon because it's the most recent thing. Well, no, it's going to be mean. All right, fine. So it's going to make you navigate to your slide deck because it's not seeing the one that I just did. I'm going to change this to an A to Z list because I hate how it comes up in that random order. And I'm going to navigate back into the set of folders where I have all these. And I'm going to go down to my Google Tools. So you can see if you have a lot of folders, you just, it's kind of like attaching something to an email. Google Docs and Slides. Okay. And then, oh, that's interesting. It's not putting it there. Okay. Well, we'll just attach this one then, and I'll figure out what happened with that one in a second. It must be in a different folder. Notice there's no option for students to do anything. It's just attached. They can just look at it. Now, this version of attaching means that once they open it, and you can give it to multiple classes at once they open it, it will open in this view that has a slide in the middle and all the thumbnails. If you prefer it open full screen, but with no capacity to download or save, this version will only let them open and view. They won't be able to save it. They won't be able to print it or anything. You go to File, scroll down to Publish to Web, say that you want the link, click Publish. Are you sure? I am sure. Not that I would give anybody this link because it's not a real presentation. Copy the link, go back to Google Classroom, delete this one, click Add, choose Link, paste the link, and I'll show you how that's going to open now. I'm going to paste the link over here. And you'll see that it automatically opens full screen. This is for them to view on their own time, right? This doesn't have video embedded or anything. There's no audio. So this is for them to view at their own time. But notice how it opens completely in full screen. If I had made any of these a hyperlink, they'd be able to click it. And I can show you that now. Boom. So if I make this a hyperlink to sanjuan.edu, so click the link icon, go www.sanjuan.edu, apply. Now let's go back to this and let's refresh it. Okay. And it will be an active link that will take them directly there. The difference is when they are in this view, if they don't click the present button, they have to click where it says second topic, click again, and then it will open the page. So they have to do 2 clicks. So that's why you either want to train your students to click on the present button as soon as they open it, or if they don't need to save it to their drive and they don't need to write on it, it's not one you gave them as an assignment to type on, you want to do the File, Publish to Web, copy that link and put that link in Google Classroom or share that out via Class Dojo or Remind or however you're communicating with your students. Okay, so we are at the end of our time, so I want to honor that for you. We did get through all of the basics that will help you do that. Can you file and publish to web? Okay, good question. File and publish to web with Pear Deck won't work. The slides won't be interactive. Sorry. Can you? Yes, I will repeat how to make the link. Yeah, sorry. Unfortunately, the Pear Deck won't be interactive. They would see all the awesome Pear Deck slides, but they won't be able to type on them. For those of you who are wondering what we are talking about, I will be doing a second presentation of Pear Deck. I believe it's on Friday. Pear Deck is this cool little add-on you see up here, and it actually creates slides that the students can type on. Let me show you again how to make that link. Highlight the words that need to be the link. Go up to the chain link icon. If it's not there, it just means you need to click the 3 dots because you have something else open on the right and your menu crunched down. And then if you don't know if you already know the web address, you would have just copied it and you can paste it. Okay, that's actually the link to the, that's the link to the publish to web view, or you can type the address in if you know it. Here's another cool thing you can do. You've seen me do this actually. If you've gone to the hub and looked at the bottom of the home page of the hub, there's this, actually it's a Google slide deck and it has little boxes with links. And the way I did that was I actually linked, for example, details. I'm going to go to link and I'm going to link it to slide number 4. Apply. So now when I present, this could be, sorry that the background color is bad, but this could be a thing where you're saying, you know, choose your own adventure, or you have a slide with information for them, like click here to learn more about this topic, click here for a review of this lesson, click here for a review of that lesson. And all of those links would jump directly to a different slide where you provide the information they are looking for. So I would recommend, actually, if you wanted to do that, I would recommend just going here, and I'm going to move this way up, review topics. So if you're trying to provide them with some support, you can go here and then do insert, oops, sorry, insert table, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. Okay, and then you can expand it. and then you can say whatever your topics are. So review of topic 1, and ignore the click to add text behind that. We don't need it. Topic 1, topic 2, right? And then let's pretend that these are actually good slides that have topic 1 review. I'm going to get rid of that text box behind there because it's bothering me. Okay. And then I'm going to link topic 1 to the slide that has the review information for topic 1. And that's going to be the very next slide, as it turns out. I'm going to link topic 2 to slide 4. Oops. Just noticed I didn't get the whole line. Link topic 2, go click slides in this presentation, slide number 4. And in this way, what's happening, oh, I forgot to hit apply. Let's do that again. Topic 1, okay. Topic 1, hit the link, choose slides in this presentation, go to the next slide, hit apply. What this will do is let students choose what it is they need to get review or help on, because each of these slides is actually going to be a little review where you've provided information or links or resources to help them get there. So you'll be able to direct them when they are in present mode. It'll work better. They will go to topic 2 and it will take them to whatever that review topic was and all the information you have posted there. Okay, so can we get the survey? Oh my God, yes, so sorry. Also, all of you, please type your email address in the chat. This is a backup, and let me grab the survey link. I'm not used to having to do this because when we present things normally, we have a different way of doing this, and there's a sign-in sheet, and it's much easier. Let me copy this link for you. I'm also putting into the chat a link to the survey. This is a backup in case there's a problem with the chat file. I'm going to post it again. So you'll see that every once in a while the chat's filling up, so I'm going to keep posting. If you can type in your email, and then I am repeatedly posting also the Google survey, which will be a backup to help you get help be sure you get your credit for attending today. I'm going to stop the recording at this point, and I do have another session not too long from now. So if you have any questions, feel free